welcome to Lennox Dreams. I'm here with the lovely Sophia Brody. Sophia, you and I have never met. So I've never
not on
heard
this plane.
Right, not on this plane. I love it. So we've never met, so I don't know your dream. Tell me how you found me.
So my girlfriend, Laureen Tonkin, is an intuitive medium, and she follows you. And she messaged me one day and said, I got a hit. And I really think that you need to check this guy out. And he's offering this thing. Check it out. And I went to see what you were doing with the dream. You had just posted this.
Yeah. Do you know that I put that post up? That post was up for 3 minutes.
Well, I was like, oh, this is so great, because I am a big dreamer, and I've always been a dreamer. When I was a little girl, my mom would take me to school, and I would tell her my whole dream, and I'd have to stop in the middle of it to go to school. And then she'd pick me up, and I would finish the dream on the whole way home. And
I love that.
Yeah.
So that is actually how I got started in dreams, was with conversations with my mom about what I had dreamed. She was hard to grab attention from. So anything that would do it.
Storytelling. It's so interesting. Yeah.
Well, and you speak into something. I mean, I love that storytelling. I mean, I believe that one of the ways we got mythologies and religions and connectedness at the community level was we were telling stories. And what could we tell stories about but our dreams?
Right.
You know. Yeah. So tell me what you dreamed. You might hear me typing a little bit because I like to take notes while I'm listening, and then we'll unpack it.
So my biggest challenge was to narrow it down to one part. But I have to mention that this was a big dream for me, and it happened about a week ago, I would say. And I do want to just brush on one part in the very beginning, and then I'll go into it for you. So in the very beginning, I entered, well, first of all, both parts of these dreams were very movie-like, in the sense that I'd be in the dream and I'd flash on a memory of watching a movie, and they felt very mystical and non-ordinary. So the first dream took me into the secret garden, and I was reminded of Wonderland, and there was a white rabbit. So there was this interaction happening. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to go on and on and on. But the second dream is the one that I'm just so excited to share with you, because I just can't wait to hear what your feedback will be. So I go into this busy restaurant, and I'm with my family. I think it's my husband. Maybe my kids are with us. I'm not really sure, but the restaurant's busy, and we're seated on an outdoor patio, but it's enclosed. So there's wooden beams up ahead, and there's no roof, so it's very open. And it's a busy event, there's people sitting and eating and socializing. And what I first noticed was the chef, who made an appearance, and he was walking around and greeting all the customers. And he was just authentically happy and very personable and sweet. And I just was really impressed by his mannerism. And so I approached him, and I told, or either he came to us or I went to him, but I told him, I said, gosh, I just want to compliment how nice you are. And, that's not easy in a restaurant, because I used to work in restaurants. And I was telling him this, I'm reflecting on a memory, like, I used to project my stress and anxieties. Like, I just don't even see that in you. And he sort of joked, and he was like, yeah, the staff is sort of like how you described your old self, but like stressing, the projection of stress and all that. And he's like going on and on. And so anyway, he just keeps talking and talking, and I get distracted. I look up, and I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to convolute what I had. I get distracted because over the beam on the other side, flying up above, is this huge bird, and it's white. And as I get a clear view of it, this was tricky in my recollection, but I kept feeling like it was a hawk, but it could have been an owl or a falcon, but it had like that hawk-shaped head. But what really captivated me was the fact that it was white, because you don't see white hawks. And again, there was the white bunny from the previous dream. So anyway, I'm now at this point, I've totally tuned out the chef, even though he's still talking. And as I'm looking at the beam and watching this bird that's hovering above it, I notice that there's a nest on the beam as well. And as I'm looking at it, the bird spots me. So he's up above hovering and he catches my eye contact. And it feels like he wants to fly into me. And at this point, my logic kicks in. And there's a sense of fear because this is not normal behavior. And then as that happens, I notice there's a man that appears hovering in between the beam and me. And so what I'm looking at is this, well, in the dream, I'm going, I haven't even decided what it was. So when when I went to go and recall my dream that morning, I described it as a ghost. But what it really felt like was more of like a spirit of a man. So it's like this energetic, white, fuzzy outline of a man who's hovering between me and the beam. And he moves a energetic version of a nest that looks like a replica of the one that's on the beam. He starts moving it towards me. So I wish I could have like drawn you a diagram, but there's me sitting at the table, and then there's the nest in between myself and the man. And then above the man is the beam with the actual nest and the white hawk.
And the bird is sort of on the beam at the nest or above.
Yeah, he's just above, right?
Right, so we got bird, beam, man, you.
With the floating nest in between myself and the man.
Fantastic.
So it's like he's very focused on moving or navigating energetically this nest towards me. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know the agenda. I don't understand the intent of it. I just noticed that this nest is very fuzzy and it's white and it's similar to the hawk's nest, and he wants me to take it.
Yep.
So I'm confused now at this point, and I'm confused that why in this public setting is this magical, non-ordinary event focused on me?
Okay.
And then
yes.
And then I start thinking, who's this spirit man? What's this spirit nest? Why is this happening? So then I connect to what this feels like as far as the movie. And it reminds me of being in the movie Labyrinth with David Bowie. And I think, this is very mystical and non-ordinary. And this is the best part. I don't have a phone, but I take out this experience of having like a virtual Snapchat. Do you know what Snapchat is? So there's these filters on Snapchat on your phone. There's the filters of the icons and you pick them. And so if you're looking directly at me, I have the different hair and the makeup and whatever. So in this dream, I do the virtual Snapchat. And what happens is, I'm just like looking into the air and I see like these, what would you call it? Like, what are those things called? Holographs or?
Holographs, yeah, like a holographic image, something sort of 3D and floating.
That's what it looks like, yeah. It looks like as if something's being projected right before me, and I'm going through and I'm picking the icon of David Bowie from the movie Labyrinth. And I picked that, and I have a thing for David Bowie. Can you tell? And this virtual film covers in front of me. So I'm still me, and I don't feel it on me, but it's almost like it's right here. And I can feel like, I notice that my lips are black. I just have this awareness, and that I have his hair and all this other stuff. And I'm just playing around with it, and I'm starting to talk and move like him in that character. But I do know, and I'm very well aware that I'm underneath this icon.
Got it. So you're feeling like both yourself and this projection, this energetic projection of David Bowie in Labyrinth. Right. So, we're good? We're complete?
No, I'm just going to finish it. It's almost done.
Okay.
So, during this, I'm almost done. In the character of this experience, my confidence shifts. I have embodied power and I'm trialing it out. And all of a sudden I think, I wonder if I can summon David Bowie. I wonder if I can summon his spirit. It flashes the scene into a meadow with a, what do you call it? Like a country club. I'm in a country club. And as I'm trying to summon his energy, all of a sudden these small birds and butterflies start hovering around me as I'm walking. And at first I doubt that that would even be his spirit, but then I let that go. And I trust that there's no distinction when you call on spirit. It is the collective air that spirit just includes him. So that's like, I'm like, that's big.
Are you familiar at all with, have you ever read Autobiography of a Yogi?
No.
That was the first time I ever heard the term householder yogi or householder saint. So India has this huge tradition of saints, people who devote, and those saints carry the consciousness of spiritual evolution, of avatarness, of ascending to higher levels while still in a body. So there's a thing called a householder yogi, which is somebody who does the same level of devotion as any other saint, but is also in demand to household, to run a house, to live as a pedestrian. It's a very particular kind of saintliness. Mm-hmm. So you, as a Western woman living in a modern world with a husband and a family, mm-hmm. are a householder. Mm-hmm. And the dream is really pointing to how to be a householder saint. And I don't mean saint like good. I mean aspirational, someone who lives in the three-dimensional, five-dimensional Maya illusion. It's all an illusion, and we do play with it energetically, mm-hmm. right? And the dream is really just all about that. So let's just go through and break it down. The white rabbit is the carrot. The white rabbit comes by and goes, hippity hoppity, I'm late, which means I'm going fast. And the ipso facto message is, follow me, which she does. Mm-hmm. So the rabbit is saying, pay attention. Also, they did this beautifully in The Matrix. Mm-hmm. In the beginning of The Matrix, where if there were no white rabbit, he may not have gone. Do you remember that scene?
I don't. It's been too long, but I know what you mean.
Rabbit, and she has the white rabbit on her shoulder, and he goes.
Okay.
So that's the white rabbit thing is pay attention, follow me, but mm-hmm. we're not going on a logical journey. If it's a white rabbit, honey, the journey is down the rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. So when we're in a busy restaurant, we are considering how we feed ourselves in the world. It's a restaurant, which means it's public space. So it's not food, home, kitchen, refrigerator nurturing. Yeah. It's how do I feed myself while I'm in the world? Uh-huh. You know, where food can get. The first clue that we're in householder territory is you're there with your husband and your kids. Oh, maybe my kids. My kids? Maybe my kids. Like that's, I'm not talking about, oh my God, you're such an irresponsible mother. You with your kids, you're not with your kids. What that tells me in dreamland is I am mother and I am not mother. You know what I mean? Both. I have my children, but I also a vibratory being that the details of which are irrelevant. I love the outdoor patio and the roofless thing because we're in a consideration of the highest aspirations of thought with no obstacle.
Rad.
The roof says I can only think as high as about 12 feet.
Yeah.
But if there's no roof, then my thought process is as high as thought can go. Mm. Okay, so in this, you see the character aspect of self who is responsible for making sure that everybody's fed, but doing it as an art form. Chef is artist.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, look at you. Now remember, it's not his dream. This isn't some chef that we could do a survey and see if there's any chefs who had a dream about going to see some chick in a restaurant and tell her that the staff was crazy. But your dream has a chef in it. He's part of you. He is the center, authoritative nurturer who is sometimes making PB&J sandwiches for children, but is also sometimes making whatever it is you serve and bring to yourself and to your environment.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, how did you get to this point? You're really complimenting yourself.
Yeah.
About getting to a place where you're successfully navigating how to be more of a householder saint. I have never, ever, not ever, ever, that's hyperbolic, probably not true, but I'll say it that way anyway, because I like hyperbole. I have never heard anybody who had a dream where they were introduced to an animal totem without being afraid of it.
Oh, I just had another one last night too.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think that's evidence that we're failing. I think it's evidence of what dreams help us do, which they help us see where we're saying no.
Yeah.
So hawk is vantage point. I am flying high enough in my consciousness, so far and above the chaos that's on the ground. I can see it, but I'm above it and I can see everything. I can see as far as I need to see. That's the medicine of hawk. White, of course, makes it pure and connects it to the white rabbit. And you're like, that's too much power. That is too much animal medicine.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So what does this now new figure comes in? This is this spirit man.
Like the middleman kind of, or?
Well, let's call him the middleman. Right? Listen, here's what we know who he is based on the narrative of the dream.
Right.
He comes when you say no to the white bird flying into you.
Yeah.
And what does he offer? He offers you another way to attract the white bird to fly into you that might feel less threatening.
Right.
The nest.
And the fact that it's like a spirit form instead of the actual nest.
Right. It's energetic, it's vibratory, it's spiritual. And I like the idea that it's a nest. The part of you that's a mother understands nest. Like this is maybe overreaching, but I'll go there.
Yeah, go.
The bird medicine's ready to fly in your chest and you say, no, I got to be like a mom and a wife. So the nest is like saying, the spirit is saying, no, don't worry about that. I'll give you nest consciousness.
Yeah.
So you don't lose that. That's your three-dimensional world where you are a wife and a mother and a pedestrian and a taxpayer and a neighbor and But that nest, if that nest lies in your heart, guess where the hawk is going to go? To its home, to its nest.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like a clever way spirit has of saying, Sophia's ready to rise up to a higher level of her spiritual consciousness, but not quite that fast. How about this? This way.
I love that.
And listen, sweetie, I'm not making this up to make you feel good about your dream.
No,
you're
validating. You're validating.
Yay, yay, yay. So then you get into the pedestrian piece of this where it's like, what would it be like if I tried to summon this energy? Now, here's what's great about this.
Yeah.
If you think it's magic, you're going to be wildly disappointed. Like, it isn't magic, but we can influence everything energetically. And so the saints in India apparently could influence vibration so profoundly they could materialize here and dematerialize. I read that and I'm inspired by it. I'm not sure that actually happened, but I know from my own experience that the prayerfulness to move energy. So like in this case, like I'm going to summon David Bowie. So that's the intention. I'm going to summon this energy. And what you get is light energetic versions of spirit, butterflies, birds, right? So that to me is you playing with how can I control now that I'm filled with the hawk medicine and I'm higher up in this other level of operating. How can I now operate energetically, powerfully, spiritually, intentionally at a higher level now than I could, before? The dream is telling us you're rising up to a level where you are still me, but I'm also David Bowie. In this energetic way. The Snapchat filter, it's like an illusion, but it's also like real. Not real as in actual, but real as in I create this.
Yeah.
You of self. And I am both pedestrian Michael, in your case, pedestrian Sophia, but also an energetic master.
Right.
Both. Wow. Love this dream, honey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing it with me.
And just a side note, a vouch for people who are drawn to talk to you about their dreams. Okay. And when you invite that into your life, just the amount of influence and impact it has on the day, because since that dream, we have red hawks around here, and red-tailed hawks, shouldered hawks. And I've been seeing these hawks flying above, but they have white underneath. And I've never seen that. It could be ospreys. It could be ospreys, and maybe I'm the only one seeing it. But I've seen 2 since this dream. So it's like validate, Michael, validate.
Dance magic with me. And you guys come check me out. Send me an email if you want to be on the show. We'll do it.
Thank you.
Bye.